Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Modi government announced the caste census to be conducted along with the population census on Wednesday and took everyone by surprise. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav held a cabinet briefing to announce his decision, coming as it does just months before the Bihar elections. Though the government has not spelt out the timeline, when will it do it? But the biggest questions which face everyone right now are what has forced Modi government to announce this decision? Was it a headline management? Has this move stolen the thunder out of the opposition's fight for social justice? Now, what I'm told is that Congress is holding a Congress Working Committee meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. and they will decide as to what's going to be the future roadmap as far as the fight for social justice is concerned. Joining me this evening is a very special guest, Congress Working Committee member, Congress admin in charge, and Mallikarjun Kharge's aide. Gurdeep Sappal joins us this evening. Thank you so much, Gurdeep, for joining on HW. And tomorrow, this crucial meeting on caste census. But before I begin to ask you about the future roadmap and how party plans to go about it, few questions related to the fact that what has triggered Modi government to make an announcement on caste census, according to you?
Thank you, Niru, for inviting me to this show. As you said in your introduction, that has Modi stolen the thunder? So that's not how we would like to put it. This time, Modi has agreed that whatever Rahul Gandhi has been championing over past 2-3 years, that is correct, that is the right way forward, and his government has now announced that it will conduct a caste survey, caste census, forgetting whatever was said in past. In last 1 year, we have seen Prime Minister Modi saying that those who demand caste census are like urban Naxals. We have seen that UP Chief Minister saying that caste census is like Talibani soch. It's a Talibani idea. We have seen BJP spokesperson and media people aligned to them saying that this is an idea which is casteist, which will increase casteism in this country. And suddenly we see that there is a consensus now, a forced consensus by BJP among their people, because they have now decided and now they agree that this is the right way forward.
But there is no timeline to it. And also, what I was looking at the 2019 cabinet meeting, which was done, and in that, some 8,000 or 8,500 crores were allocated for the census. And this year's budgetary allocation is down by many, many crores. And that is like 574 crores have been allocated this year. So, with no timelines, with no budgetary allocation, are you not sensing that this just could be another Jumla?
Well, the government has to do a census. The fact that it has chosen not to do a census for last 5 years, quoting in first phase the COVID as a reason, though most of the countries conducted census during COVID and post-COVID also now it's several years, it has chosen not to do census, but it cannot indefinitely postpone the census. Yes, in 2019, the cost of conducting census was some 8,000 plus crore and nearly 4,000 crore for updating the NPR, both the exercises to be done together. So normally 12,000 crore rupees was the expenditure which was expected in 2019. Now in 25, we expect much more. But BJP, even 2 months back, when the BJP government presented the budget in Lok Sabha, they had no idea of conducting census, leave aside caste census. They had no idea of doing census in this year, this financial year, and that is why they allocated only 575 crore for this purpose, not the entire amount. So that is why Congress Party and Rahul Gandhi yesterday in his press conference specifically asked the Prime Minister that you have to put a timeline to it. It cannot be that you announce for whatever reason you have decided to do so, that there will be a caste census along with census, but you do not give a timeline for conducting census itself. So that will be drawing upon a fraud upon the nation. And I sincerely hope that BJP will bring the supplementary budget to Lok Sabha in the coming session. And I can assure the nation that the entire opposition will cooperate with the government to approve that supplementary budget so that the census exercise can be triggered, can be kicked off right away.
But Gurdeep, if you have seen Ashwini Vaishnav's press conference, which was done yesterday, he immediately announced the decision of conducting the caste census along with the population census. But he also lambasted Congress, that the Congress never believed in caste census; it only believed in caste surveys. And then he gave examples of how it was done in Telangana, it was done in Karnataka, and also in Bihar. And he said that Congress never believed in a caste census. So, which means that he automatically jumped into a credit taking exercise. Now, when it comes to credit taking, who do you think will walk away with the fact that Rahul Gandhi undoubtedly and uncertainly he's been putting pressure, a lot of pressure on the government to bring in a caste census. Similarly, Samajwadi Party has been talking about the PDA politics. RJD, in its own way, has been putting pressure on caste census. So, who do you think will walk away with the credit, given the fact that it's coming very, very close to the Bihar elections?
Well, BJP has a habit of doing today's politics through a prism looking into past. Unfortunately, every time they pick up a wrong prism. If you talk of past, we can tell BJP leaders that they, in fact, never believed in equality. They were never for equality in the constitution from 1926 to 1950, the period when RSS was formed, till the period when the constitution was written and adopted. They never spoke about right to freedom of speech. They never spoke about the concept of reservation. You will not find a single line in any of the BJP's RSS, that time it was not BJP, RSS literature from 1926 to 1950, and there was huge literature written by their leaders, not a single line on equality. They believed in a hierarchical society, not a single line on the rights of people, not a single line on freedom of speech, not a single line on the concept of affirmative action or reservation, not a single line on the rights of labor. These are not concepts that belong to RSS. These concepts came into India in the Constitution of India because Congress championed these concepts. Now, at that time, the challenge was that in Constitution you have guaranteed equality for all. But on ground, Indian society was hierarchical society. It was a caste-ridden society where there was no concept of equality in your social life. The challenge was how to now change the society into a new society where everybody is equal. And our social customs, our social structure never believed that. So in that time, the way forward thought was that let us not talk about caste. Let us use the constitutional provisions. Let us use the government schemes. Let us use the infrastructure created by government. Let us introduce reservation into government jobs. Let us introduce reservation into education sector. And let us ensure that people who have been left out for thousands of years from the mainstream are accommodated and brought to equality. This was the concept. And it did work for a long time.
No, but since the
Every,
time
no. So it did work, but casteism remained. Then there was
no, that,
I just want to respond to your question because then there was another thing. This entire socialite movement led by Lohia, who said to remove casteism, you should stop writing your caste. You should do intercaste marriage. You should do intercaste dining. Now we know after 60 years that intercaste marriages are a common thing. They're not very uncommon. Intercaste dining is very common. People at that time, and largely the upper caste, followers of Lohia, they stopped writing their caste. But that has not diluted the caste structure.
no, but
So
Gurdeep,
now
just before
Ashwini should
this,
know, now Ashwini Vaishnav should know that we are into third phase of our understanding, where we now, and this is what Rahul Gandhi says, that to dilute the caste structure, to ensure equality, the way forward is that every person belonging to all the castes should have a right to on the resources. The resources should be distributed as per their population. Be in the power structure, in the decision-making echelons of various verticals of our society, be it bureaucracy, be it politics, be it judiciary, be it corporates, be it media, be it businesses, every community, every caste should have an equal chance to come into that power structure. Now, how do you do that? How do you plan that? So this is what Rahul Gandhi says. All that we did prior to 2012 is not now, will not deliver the way it used to. We have to look for a new paradigm of development where your resources are distributed equitably, where the government ensures that people from various communities, various castes, they go into various power structures. And for this, we need data. And that is now he's championing the data caste census issue, and which thankfully now the Modi government has agreed because there was a huge pressure from below. The Modi government has not done a U-turn without any reason. The biggest reason, there may be reasons of which people are talking of diversion and other things, but the fact remains that the government, the RSS knows that there's a huge groundswell of support for this demand, and so we cannot leave it at that.
No, but Gurdeep, you are saying that you are looking at this from the point of view of a new paradigm of development. And even Rahul Gandhi said that in his press conference yesterday. But the BJP supporters and the people who support the BJP ideology have been saying that this is something which has been in the works of BJP for last 1 year. RSS has been talking constantly to the BJP. We may question the timing, why they announced it yesterday. But just hear me out what I'm saying. They are trying to co-opt the mandal and the kamandal politics both, which was once upon a time an appropriation of Congress. So that is the kind of tactics which BJP is having in its mind. So how would you really counter that? By just
Well,
saying that of
we
the paradigm
always
of
knew,
yes.
knew that RSS works in secrecy. It's a secret organization largely. But we never knew that RSS top bosses, BJP top bosses, also do not know what their own party and their own organization is working upon. Who in their organization was working on this? Did they never share with the Prime Minister Modi? Did they never share with their leaders who were continuously attacking caste census in past 1.5 years? Do you want to do you want the nation to believe that there was something very secret going on, which Mohan Bhagwat didn't know, which Narendra Modi didn't know, which Amit Shah didn't know, which JP Nadda didn't know, which all the RSS Karyakartas didn't know, which all the media aligned to RSS did not know? Then who was working on that? So let us not be taken in by this propaganda. This is appropriation of a decision which has been suddenly, inexplicably thrust upon them by Prime Minister Modi. It's a demonetization like a strike on his own people this time, on his own organization. Till yesterday, even in mohallas, even in WhatsApp group, they were ridiculing Rahul Gandhi. They were ridiculing Congress party for championing the demand of caste census. And suddenly, within few hours, now everybody is made to believe that there's some great strategy which RSS and BJP was working without knowledge of their top leaders. And please agree to all this new strategy. This is not the way it works.
So this U-turn, Gurdeep, you would see as Rahul Gandhi's victory, Congress's victory.
This is certainly a victory of Rahul Gandhi. This is certainly a victory for Congress party because Rahul Gandhi has been championing the cause of a new paradigm. He has been saying that now we cannot leave behind 80 to 85% of people who are not participant, who are not equal participant in the development of India, which is happening now. This in last 75 years, in all these communities, be it SC, ST, OBC, other marginalized communities, people, a new educated aspirational class has come up. They're asking for a space in decision making. It is not by fluke that all the senior managements of corporates, of government, of judiciary, do not reflect the caste composition of this country. Only a few percentage dominate those. It is not a fluke that even in your middle class societies where we all live, multi-story apartment, you'll hardly find any SC, ST, or OBC people. Their population, along with minorities, is 90%, but their representation in these colonies, at least in North India, is abysmal. So
No,
where
but
are these
what is
people
your
living? Where
sense?
is this 90% people living?
No,
So
but what is your sense?
unless you now plan to redress the concerns of this 90% population of India, we cannot have a prosperous, we cannot have a strong India. This is what Rahul Gandhi is saying. So it is certainly his victory that
No,
now
but what is
first
your
step
sense?
is being taken by.
No, but what is your sense? Will BJP be able to sell the idea of caste census on the ground, where it has always depreciated that and always humiliated the idea of a caste census? So, do you think BJP is going to find it difficult to sell the idea before the people when they go on the ground to build the narrative?
Well, as a party, if Narendra Modi could sell demonetization, if Narendra Modi could defeat Corona by banging thalis, he does believe in his own capacity to lead a flock of sheep of his supporters. That apart, we are not concerned with that. Congress party will now look what does Narendra Modi government do with this data. I hope this census and caste census is finished in next few months, maybe a year or so. Then you have a data.
No, but
Data
when you
is not
talk
the end
about
result.
data,
Data is not the end product.
no,
Data
but
is
when
for
you talk,
something. So
no, no,
what is
certainly.
Narendra Modi government going to do with that data is the question that we are interested in.
No, but when you talk about data, there are accusations that even Congress conducted the caste surveys, but they did not disclose the data. Whether it is Karnataka, whether it is Bihar, or Bihar, of course, we know certain things, but there have been constant accusations that Congress ruled governments, they did the caste survey, they conducted the caste survey, but they did not come out with the data. So the same thing applies to Congress also. So if you don't come out with the
Yes,
data, how do you
yes.
come up with the roadmap?
First of all, let us know the facts. Fact is that the expertise to do a census lies with Government of India. The state governments do not have the experience or the expertise to do a census. So we kept on demanding the union government to do this census. But because they did not do it, we decided that our state governments will do a survey. They can't do a census, so the state governments did a survey. First survey was done in Karnataka, whatever the limitations were there. Second survey was done in Bihar, and third survey was done in Telangana. Now, this is what Rahul Gandhi himself said yesterday in his press conference. The challenge that we observed was that the bureaucracy which carries out this survey is not fully represented by the stakeholders of SC, ST, OBC community. There are very few SC, ST, OBC officers who are part of designing the surveys or who are part of decision making in the bureaucracy. So certainly when the survey was conducted, there were several learnings. These learnings were debated within Congress party at the level of Rahul Gandhi himself, that when bureaucracy is not fully represented, how do we go forward? So in Telangana, a new model was suggested, which was adopted by the government. And that model was, Rahul Gandhi said, that instead of fully and solely relying on the bureaucracy, let us include stakeholders and intellectuals from those communities whom we need to count. So a lot of consultation was done, public hearing was done, committees were formed, where public intellectuals, where experts from SC, ST, OBC communities, they were reached out to, and they sat with bureaucrats to design a survey. And that is why in Telangana, instead of just asking what is your name, what is your caste, what job do you do, where do you stay, it was a detailed socio-economic survey of 56 questions. Now, this is a model which we have developed after going through earlier two models. So this is what Rahul Gandhi said. Look, now we have arrived at a model. This is nation's treasure. So we are willing to share it with Modi government so that they do not reinvent the wheel or they do not miss the opportunity of having a detailed census. So we are willing to share this experience with the Modi government. Second thing, as you said, we did not make it public. The Telangana data is being studied by a high-level committee in which there are top intellectuals, not just from India, but global intellectuals are also included there. They are going through the data. They are trying to analyze because it's a huge data. It's not a small thing. And this data has been collected for the first time ever.
No,
Never
but
ever this data has been
but
collected. So
another
somebody has to analyze it. It takes
no.
time and it will be put out.
But when BJP starts building this caste census as a political narrative for elections, there is a constant fear that they might remind Congress of its past, how the approach towards the backwards has been, how Congress has dealt with the Mandal Commission report or with the Kakelkar report. So, is Congress worrying about that bit? Could that be a challenge when it starts getting built up as a political narrative?
Well, BJP does not understand what Congress party is. Congress party works in a continuum. It continuously evolves. It is the same party which built strong mixed economy. It's the same party which then led to liberalization. It's the same party which brought in various revolutions, green revolution, white revolution. It is the same party which brought IT revolution. It is the same party which brought in service sector. It is the same party which in last few years has reviewed the entire policies in current context. So in Congress party, we are not bound by fixed notions. It's a party which has a strong intellectual base. We do revisit, we do analyze whatever our policies have been, and then come up with a solution. So that is why every time in every few years, you find Congress party coming up with a new idea, and that new idea changes the face of the nation. It be it bank nationalization, you start from equality, you then go to reservation, you go to bank nationalization, you go to green revolution, you go to white revolution, you go to IT revolution, you go to liberalization, then you go to service sector economy, then now this stage. So Congress party, if you want to criticize Congress party, criticize on the efficacy of our current understanding. BJP's problem is that they want to pick and choose criticism to suit their arguments. Question is, today BJP, is it in favor of removing the 50% ceiling on caste reservation as it will be the natural consequence of the caste census? Is BJP willing for that? Is BJP willing to roll out and implement Article 15(5) of Constitution of India? This was an amendment to provide reservation in private sector institutions. In 2006, UPA did it. It is not being implemented. Issue is now the public sector jobs, government jobs are on a huge decline. There are very few, in fact, between 19 and 23, the number of SCs in government jobs fell by 45%. The number of OBCs in government jobs, absolute number, fell by 41%. So there are fewer jobs and there are fewer people coming in for those jobs. So after a point, even if you have reservation, it will have no sense because the government sector itself is going down. So is BJP going to do something about it? Is BJP going to revamp the government jobs? Is BJP going to carry affirmative action to private sector? These are the questions that BJP has to answer because
Right.
caste census will lead to these questions.
No, but tomorrow you have a Congress Working Committee meeting as well. And so, what is going to be the next blueprint which Congress will lay out? Caste census you demanded for, caste census government has agreed for. Now, what is going to be the next goalpost for Congress?
It is not a question of goalpost again. Congress demanded caste census as the beginning of a process. BJP probably is viewing it as an end of a process. Our view is very simple. You will have data. Now, what will you use this data for? Two things Rahul Gandhi, in yesterday's press conference, he underlined that one, the ceiling of 50%, which is an artificial ceiling imposed by the courts, has to go. In certain states, it doesn't exist because, like in Tamil Nadu, it was added to Schedule 9, where courts cannot have a say. In Bihar, where BJP itself is a participant. They've already passed a resolution for 65% reservation, which is pending in courts. Now, whether BJP, like it is supporting 65% reservation in Bihar, will support the demand to break the ceiling at a national level is to be seen. Then this private education institutions reservation has to be implemented. And then comes the larger questions. How do you plan to equitably distribute resources in various castes? Because caste is a reality in this country. How do you do it? This is the next question. And then subsequently, another question comes that how do you ensure that people in various sectors, in the top decision-making echelons, how do you ensure that all the communities are gradually represented at the top decision-making level? It's not going to happen overnight. Once we have data, you need planning to migrate the society, Indian society, from current situation where the decision making is limited to only few communities and caste to a system where caste will really not matter at the decision making level. Everybody will have a representation at that level. So, what is BJP going to do about it? Our roadmap is clear. We are working on that roadmap. Rahul Gandhi is working on that roadmap. That is why Rahul Gandhi yesterday in his press conference said that we are working on a new paradigm of development. And if we do not work on this, if we do not work on this, I'm afraid India will not be as strong as we want it to be. India will not prosper as we want it to prosper because when a large section of society remains outside the mainstream of development, then it brings added pressure in the society, and also it does not ensure that the guarantee of equality which we built in our constitution will not actually be rolled out at the grassroots levels.
Gurdeep, one very realistic question which I'm wanting to ask you is that everybody can see clearly that why Modi government brought in a caste census just before Bihar elections because they want to capitalize on it electorally. But when Congress says that we are looking at it from the paradigm of development, then obviously uh, using it or capitalizing it for elections is not the focus for Congress. So how will Congress now capitalize this politically? Can you do that, or you're thinking of long term gains, maybe from 2029 point of view? The party is working on it.
No, nowhere do we say that we are not working to win elections. We have started our job in Bihar. In Bihar, we will ask the NDA government, we will ask the Prime Minister Modi and the Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, what did you do with the data that you got in caste survey? They have to answer it to people, and people will ask that question to them. It's not that you just did a survey and said, okay, as per this survey, we'll decide candidates. You are using survey for your political benefit. People will ask, how are you using this survey for our benefit? And we will ask this question. And we will also present to people our own blueprint for that. The UPA in the India Alliance, not UPA, sorry, in Bihar will present an alternative vision for that. We are going to contest election. What I am saying is our vision, Rahul Gandhi's whole concept of a new paradigm is not restrained by elections. But we do need to win elections to actualize that vision. It's not that we can actualize that vision from opposition. Yes, in opposition, today Rahul Gandhi stands vindicated. People, he's among those few leaders whose power of idea is forcing the government of the day to change its course. And this is not the first time Rahul Gandhi has done it. When Land Acquisition Bill Act was being repealed by Modi government, it was Rahul Gandhi who took a stand and ensured it was not repealed, it was retained. When Farmers Bill came in, when CANRC came in, he just took a stand. People supported him. So every time when there's such a thing, he has the power, he has that understanding which forces government to change its plan, its tracks. Now this time, being in the opposition, he has left a mark that yes, this is the right way. Even government is forced to walk on this way. Issue is whether government will walk only one step or it will then go fully forward, change its planning, change its scheme, change its outcome to ensure that people who are left out are included in development now.
So, which means that Congress will go on the streets. It will tell the people as to what this caste census, why Modi government has brought in, and so what are we going to see now? How will you connect the people on the grassroots?
Certainly, people know that this is a master stroke now, so people will believe in it, but in a later vein. But Congress will reach out to people. Our communication with people has to be more effective, better to ensure that people understand that Rahul Gandhi did not raise the demand of caste census only as an election slogan, but this is his vision for country, how this is going to change their lives. This whole thing that what caste census will lead to eventually, how Rahul Gandhi wants to use this data for an alternative planning is something that we need to go out and share with people. And I am hopeful and confident also that we will be able to do this in days and months to come, because his vision, which has forced BJP and RSS to take a U-turn, has to be communicated to people, and people have to be told what are the future steps that Rahul Gandhi has been visioning, has been thinking for them.
One last question: that are we going to expect some big headlines from the CWC meeting tomorrow, or the three demands that you remove the 50% cap on the reservation, then bringing in reservation for the private institutions? So all those demands are there, and then of course emphasizing on the timeline as well. But apart from these three points, are we going to expect anything bigger coming out of the CWC tomorrow?
Well, I cannot comment or foresee what CWC will discuss tomorrow. Certainly, this is the issue which will come up. Certainly, we'll discuss in great depth what is coming up. And we'll also want to communicate to people that one reason why Modi government also was forced to do a caste census, because what we have been saying for the last few years, because of Supreme Court's judgments on triple test, 2010, the first judgment came. Then subsequently, every 2-3 years, a new judgment has come, where various judgments have talked about three tests. And one of the tests is that to ensure reservation, either in local bodies and subsequently in jobs, you need data, empirical data, to prove that there is a backwardness and there is a lack of representation of a certain community or caste. Now, that data can only be had from census. And that is why if Modi government didn't agree to a caste census, it would have inevitably led to de-reservation of OBC reservation in local bodies, in education institutions, and in government jobs, because this is the trajectory on which these judgments were there. Courts were correct in one thing. They said you are talking of reservation, you are talking of more representation, you are saying there's a backwardness, but where is the data to prove it? And that data is required. So if Modi government had not agreed to this, then certainly beyond a point, courts would have been compelled to stop OBC reservations in various things. So this is something that is timely now, and thankfully Modi government is going forward with it. We only hope that they do it in a defined timeline as soon as possible in this year, and then they use this data for further planning.
So, well, all eyes would be on how Modi government now makes its next steps as far as caste census is concerned. Thank you so much, Gurdeep, for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you.